1976, I asked this question in a Facebook group. What did President Carter do about global warming? Because had the world followed his advice, we'd live on a different planet today. All concerned seem to applaud and say, yeah, that's true. What happened? Well, President Jimmy Carter was arguably the first president in the U.S. to address global warming, laying a foundation for future climate action decades ahead of his time. He recognized the threat in the 1970s and emphasized energy conservation, renewable energy, and scientific research into fossil fuel emissions. Today, we're going in the opposite direction. We no longer honor science, we honor capital. Moving forward, Carter, did he have solar panels on the White House? Well, in 1979, he installed solar water heating panels on the White House roof, symbolizing his commitment to renewable energy. As a Los Angeles kid, I saw these sorts of pipes on houses in Los Angeles City, houses built in the 20s and 30s. In those days, people understood the value of solar energy, and they took advantage of it by putting pipes on the roof to warm their water. Anyhow, he created the Department of Energy. He established U.S. Department of Energy in 1977 to streamline energy policy, research, and development. He promoted energy conservation. He urged Americans to conserve energy through personal sacrifices, famously wearing a sweater during a television address to encourage setting thermostats lower to save fuel. I should note that this is a great green policy for people to follow. Rather than leaving the thermostat up at night, they could turn it down at least to what's comfortable instead of way up high and just wear a t-shirt. Moving forward, the Global 2000 report. He commissioned this 1977 report, which included early warnings about the dangers of accumulating carbon dioxide in the atmosphere from fossil fuels. If you didn't know, we're over 430 parts per million atmospheric CO2 density at times this year. And it only continued to rise and increasing rates. He signed key environmental laws. He signed the Comparative Environmental Response, Compensation, and Liability Act, Superfund, and expanded the national park system, including major protections for Alaskan lands. That is all being ripped down today by President Trump and the Republican Party. This is not the same Republican Party that we knew when Eisenhower was president, or for that matter, well, we'll leave it at that. Implemented efficiency standards. He enacted the first U.S. energy efficiency standards for passenger vehicles and household appliances. I should remind everybody that's been saved by seatbelts that it was a Democratic idea to go ahead with causing seatbelts to be installed in cars. And Ralph Nader is the guy who pushed that forward. Moving forward, while his efforts, that's Carter's efforts, were often overshadowed by energy shortages and economic challenges, stagflation at the time, sound familiar? Historians often cite his work as forward-thinking. His focus was to shift the nation away from dependence on fossil fuels and towards a cleaner energy future. I ask this: had the world followed Jimmy Carter's model in the 1970s, where would we be today in the United States? It's pretty clear we would not have invaded Iraq. That was an oil war. We would not have invaded Afghanistan for reasons I'm not sure of, other than going after bin Laden. And we wouldn't have been involved with bin Laden but for oil policies in the Middle East. Moving forward, we would also have not had the Iran war, which we have today and is costing billions of dollars and more American lives. And this from a president, so-called president, who claimed there would be no wars. Okay, and he's going to do the right thing. Well, parts per million carbon dioxide has only climbed, and it's only gotten worse. And let's see what happens to 2007 parts per million, CO2 atmospheric density, and the temperature in the US this coming summer, 2026. Will we surpass 2024? In any case, by 2030, we will be surpassing the 2020 high marks for temperature and carbon dioxide. You can take that to the bank because it's baked into the system. I'm Ed Evans. I'm not a scientist, but I do follow Professor James Hansen, Columbia University, and others. Good day.